Hey everybody, Steve Sevcik from Shoodaben Engineering, and I've got Shoodaben all ripped apart today, and I kind of just want to do a little quick video to kind of show you the inside of Shoodaben. I knew this was not going to be an opportunity I'd have very often, and I kind of wanted to capture this, so I thought you'd want to take a look. Let me just explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. I built Shoodaben back in this first engine back in about 2006. It's got a high velocity cylinder head on it. We're going to get to that in a little bit, and it's got this cylinder block over here. You can go and take a look over here. What this is a ZX11 cylinder block that I sawed off the side and had the side of a Concours block welded to it, and then went back and remachined the top of the block and then bored it another 2mm oversize. The pistons that are in here are Wiseco 12-to-1 pistons for a ZX11. Come on back up here. So as you see, that's all looking real nice. This has got, I don't know, 40-something thousand miles on it since I built it. Everything is looking great right there. But the reason why I tore it apart was because a couple of years ago when I put my high lift cams in here, my cylinder pressure just went through the roof. I mean, these are 12-to-1 pistons, and I didn't have any problems with that when I was running the Concours cams or running the ZX1000 cams. But when I went to my high lift power cams, all of a sudden my cylinder pressures around 3,500, 4,000 RPM were so high that I had to run premium. Well, the problem with premium was it has a lot of cleaning agents in it, and it started breaking down the JB weld that I have in the intake ports of my high velocity cylinder head. So this project is to take that head off and put a more conventionally ported head onto Shoodaben. And I kind of just thought everybody would like to get a look at that. Okay, this is the cylinder head that I've just taken off of Shoodaben. When I took the cylinder head off, I checked my compression ratio, or my compression pressure rather, and cylinders 1 and 4 had 230 pounds cranking compression, and cylinders 2 and 3 had 220 pounds of cranking compression. Now, the cranking compression was always high on this bike with the compression ratio as it was, but it was more around 210, 215, and when I put my high lift cams in, that's when it really started spiking, and I had to run the premium. So I had done a pile of work on this cylinder head, and this is the new head that I'm going to put on, which is another one with a pile of work. I just thought maybe that we'd like to get a look at some of that. First of all, if you look at this cylinder head and look at the combustion chamber here, you can see that basically I did polish the combustion chamber, but I didn't change the shape of the chamber. When I did this, I was kind of more concentrating on the intake ports as far as being the big draw on why I was doing this cylinder head, and I didn't work on trying to change the combustion chamber shape. Now fast forward, this cylinder head here, what you can see is I've really done a lot of work to relieve the cylinder head and open it up. Because of having the larger bore, I'm able to push the walls back away from the valves and be able to get a lot more flow. My anticipation is, even though I took a half a cc out of this combustion chamber to get it to this size, it's actually going to make more power. Now on the exhaust ports are very similar between the two heads. There's actually quite a bit removed out of this port. If you ever seen a stock size port, you'd be able to see that. Let me put a little light in here and see if that'll help. Can you see down inside of there? Okay. Now of course it's going to be a little harder to see over here because the port's carboned up. But I also had done quite a bit of work on these ports too. Although I don't recall doing as much floor work on these ports as I did on the new head. Okay, now let's go to the intake ports. This was the kind of experiment on this head, something I had never really done before. This is called high velocity porting. And if you can see down inside that port, you can see that the whole floor of that port is filled with JB weld. And in some places there's 3/8 to 7/16 of an inch of JB weld there. And that was all designed to make the port smaller. The idea there was to bring the airspeed through the port higher and try to get more mid-range. And remember, I did that back in a time when there was no good mid-range cams for the Concours, and I was trying to get more mid-range out of my bike. Now this is the cylinder head that's going on now. As you see, I haven't done anything to limit the port volume at all. I did clean the port up, I left it rough. Okay, move down inside of it. Can you see down in it? There you go. Okay. So there you go. All right. So what the idea there was that I'm basically trying to get more airflow all the way down through the intake valve and then have better flow in these combustion chambers because of having the valves unshrouded. Okay, these are my high lift power cams. These are approximately the same duration as the torque cams that I offer on my website, but they have about an extra 1.5 millimeters of lift. I've only done about 10 sets of these cams, and it's only for guys that are really kind of hot rodding. They really work great. They make tons of power down low and tons of power all the way up. But I think because of the lift, they could be a little rough on the valve train, although I haven't seen any issues whatsoever either with these cams or with any of the valve hardware as a result of them. So it could be just in an abundance of caution that I have chosen not to really release these as my cams that's on my website. And last but not least, I thought that we'd show this head gasket. These are takeoff head gaskets. This is the head gasket from Shoodaben. I actually have to have Cometic custom make this gasket because the combination of ZX11 cylinder block and Concours block is, you know, nobody's got anything like that. And here's what happens when you overlay, just to give you an idea on the bore diameters. There's the stock gasket, and then you can see, I think if you can take a look there and see how much larger the bore is, you can see in this cylinder right here, okay? So it's actually a 4 millimeter larger bore than what a stock Concours has. Alright everybody, you know, that's kind of it for right now. I've got this big winter project that I have to put back together. I know there's a lot of Concours out there getting their winter projects done, so this one is mine. I'll post back up in a couple months after I've got it all finished up and dialed in and have put it on a dyno, whether or not I actually made more power or not. I mean, the kind of interesting thing for me as an engine builder is what happens between the high velocity cylinder head versus the more standard ported cylinder head. Which one of them actually is capable of making more power. Might turn out that I did a whole lot of work here for not a whole lot of return, but at least I got the JB weld out, so I don't have to worry about that breaking down from the high octane fuel anymore. And so it's all fun, you know. As always, appreciate you coming to visit with me, and don't forget, if you own a Concours, join COG.